Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, A Little Geek, A Little Chic. Today we're going to talk about the books that I read in the month of October, so grab yourself your beverage of choice and let's talk books. In the month of October, I read 5 books, so I consider that a good reading month. Let's start discussing them. I'm going to try to keep this one short for you guys and wrap up these books because I will have to film another video in a couple of days to tell you about what I want to read in the month of November, even though it's getting a little bit late for that, but I digress. Things happen. But let's not hold us back from the October wrap-up, shall we? We will start with the first book I read in the month of October. I read Counting the Cost by Jill Duggar and her husband. If you're not familiar, Jill Duggar was on a reality TV show as a child. I have the hiccups. Sorry. It ended up being, I believe by the end, it was like 13 kids and counting or something. And by the end of the series wrap-up thing, it was like 19 kids and counting. And they are a Mormon, non-Mormon, LBS, maybe? LBN? I can't remember the acronym, you guys. I apologize. But effectively, it's a church, and it has been kind of foreshadowed to be maybe a bit cult-like. And now that the kids are grown up and have married and moved out of the house, some of them, such as Jill and her husband, are talking out about the way they felt that they were suffocated a little bit by the church and its practices, and how making their own life and changing their ideas and how they wanted to do things for their family ended up causing them to butt heads with their family. So it was a good read. It was very entertaining. I thoroughly liked it. I actually want to read the other family members' books now. They do delve into the issue that came up with one of the kids in the series and some sexual assault and stuff that came out of that. So if that is a trigger for you, just be fair warned. Obviously look into things before you read them. But this book was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I won't give it a rating because it is someone's memoir and personal thoughts and feelings. But that was book number 1 that I read in the month of October. Okay, sorry about that. If this changed a little bit, it's because I had to go let the dog out. She had to go outside, and she's kind of a maniac tonight. Yeah, they didn't hear you. Okay, Jenny, down. Thank you. So book 2, let's get into the books again. Book 2, the second book I read was Assistant to the Villain. This book was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read the second one. It follows our main character, Evie, who has been laid off, fired, and she gets a job as an assistant to the villain who is under siege by the community. They are trying to locate him and arrest him and torture him, but he is also trying to, he's kind of like a Robin Hood, I feel like. He's trying to do good for the people that he knows and the people around him, but he does it maybe not in the best of ways, and the people that get in his way he likes to torture and or kill, and there's all kinds of stuff like that. But Evie maybe sort of starts falling for said villain, and then it gets a little dicey. So, if you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. If you like a little bit of romance, a little bit of fantasy, but not like super high intense map world building fantasy, this might be for you. I will definitely be reading the second book, and I can't wait to pick it up. Gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read was a buddy read with my friend Kim over at Bookshelf Bunny here on YouTube, and that was Fall into Temptation by Lucy Score. This may have been my first ever Lucy Score book. It's a fall romance. Got all the fall vibes and ambiance, a little bit Gilmore Girls-esque in there if you like Gilmore Girls, but it definitely has some spice. So if you're not a spice person, maybe not the book for you. The two characters clearly have a connection, chemistry right off the start, and it is a bit heated, to say the least. There were some parts that made me go, oh, wow. But the story was great. The main character, she opens her own yoga studio in a small town, and Beckett is the landlord and the mayor of the town the landlord of her apartment that she's renting, or suite. He's the mayor of the town, and he is lusting over her big time. Add some family drama, some quirky side characters, and some great romances and relationships outside of theirs in this book. It had everything I wanted. It was fantastic. I definitely enjoyed this book. It was not a 5-star read, but it was up there, and I gave it a 4 stars. Now I read 2 spooky books to cap off October. Number 1. I read The Night House by Jo Nesbø. It is very, Scream slasher-esque. I would say, overall, it was entertaining. Definitely a little weird. You have a unreliable narrator, but you find that out partway through. The story kind of lost me for a little bit in the middle, but then got me back closer to the end when I figured out a connection between the character in his head and in real life. And you'll see what I mean when you read this. But overall, wasn't super scary. It definitely had the ick factor and the gore, so that's in there. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't my favorite read of the month, and there are definitely better horror-y books out there. So this one, give it a 3 out of 5. And finally, the 5th and final book that I read in the month of October. The one, the only, Mr. Grady. Grady Hendrix has had to sell a haunted house. This deals with a family who is at odds because the parents have perished in an accident, and the siblings have to get together, and they have to clean out and sell their parents' house. However, the house may not want to be sold. It's great. It's got the ick. It's got dolls. So if you're not into the doll horror, they are freaky, and it did freak me right out. So, note to that. That is a terrifying thing in this book. If you're one that gets scared with that kind of thing, they definitely hit you on all the marks. So if you hear the dog barking, she has just decided tonight that she's going to bark all the time. And she doesn't need anything, so I don't know why she's barking, but whatever. We're just going to ignore her and continue talking about Grady Hendrix. I love this book. His writing is fantastic. It grips you. This one, every book has a little niche for him. And in this one, it is told in the stages of grief. So you have denial, anger, acceptance, all those. And each part is a different stage of grief. Love the family dynamic. There's definitely something going on between the siblings. And you find out later in the book what it is. And I wasn't expecting it. So there's definitely some scares. There's some ick. There's some horror. Love Grady Hendrix. I know a couple people that we read this with in our book club could not finish it because it was creeped them out so bad. But I was here for it. Creeped me out, yes. And that wins. This is a solid Grady Hendrix book. I don't know if I loved it as much as the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, but I was all here for this. This is a 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. that's it for the books that I read in the month of October. Please let me know down below if you read any of these and what you thought of them. And if you did read some books that I didn't that you think I should read and I would like, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you for all of your likes, all of your subscribes. Please subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you soon with another video.